Now, are you tired of being broke but still want a very good noise cancellation headphones that sound good? Well, say hello to this. The Edifier WH950NB, your new best friend in the world of affordable, high-quality noise cancellation headphones, coming in with a price of only 799 ringgit on Shopee. But I know what you might be thinking. Cheaper means crappier, right? Well, let's find out. So the unboxing process was very nice, very Edifier-like with the visuals of the headphones in front. Then you'll need to slide the box cover and open the box from the front flap. That immediately reveals the oval fabric case with a nice copper Edifier logo in the middle and a hook or a tab to easily hang the hard case. Now opening the case up, there's the headphones on one side and the other side has a little pouch that has all the accessories such as the 3.5mm audio cable that terminates into an L jack on one end, a USB-A to USB-C cable for charging, an airline adapter, then finally the user manual. Now let's talk about the weight or the lack of weight, because these headphones are so light you'll forget that you are even wearing them. And the build quality is like they took those overpriced headphones and put them in a very affordable package. Then the outer area of the ear cups are made of solid plastic with a leather-like texture. Then the ear cups are covered with a pleather material and the metal band on top that has a memory foam cushioning. So overall, the headphones feels like it's giving you a nice, comfy, big old hug towards the top of the head, and the ear cups will make your ears feel like it's sitting on a cloud. However, if you're listening to the headphones in a warmer area like outdoors, you can experience a bit of warmth around your ears if you're putting the headphones on for a really long time. Now, compared to headphones like Sony's new WH-XM5 and Apple's AirPods Max, this can be easily folded and fitted in the case as you saw in the unboxing, and that for me is a huge plus. And while these headphones are sturdy and don't creak when you twist them around, I do have to warn you about this metal adjustments, because you have to be mindful that it is thinner and on a sharper side. It's not a huge deal, but it's worth being careful about. And speaking of being careful, remember to like and subscribe to this video. See what I did there? Shameless self-promotion for the win. Thank you so mumuch in advance. Now looking at the ports and buttons, on the left side, we have the microphone vent a la 1000XM style on the ear cups. Then there's a 3.5mm audio jack along with a small microphone slit at the bottom. Then on the right, we have the same microphone slit, and at the bottom will be your main controls like volume up and down, play, pause and power button, and there's a multifunctional button below that. Then there's a USB-C port for charging, the LED indicator and another microphone slit. Now there are a couple of notable features on these headphones. First, it uses Bluetooth 5.3 and has Google Fast Pair. And if you pair this with an Android phone, you will get a notification to connect to the headphones, which was super convenient indeed. Now, secondly, there's a dual device connection where you can connect more than one device to the headphones at the same time and switch between them seamlessly. But the caveat is that if you use this dual connection, you will need to turn off the LDAC on the app.
Why?
So you'll need to make your choice accordingly, better sound or convenience. And that leads me to the app itself, as mentioned earlier, which is a big part of the experience with these headphones. Now in the app, there are a few settings for ANC, which is a huge bonus for the headphones within this price range, where you can choose between high noise cancellation, low noise cancellation and wind reduction. Then there's also the ambient sound and turn it off altogether. Now speaking of the ambient sound, you can select the level or the amount that you want, which was also super sweet. Now personally for me, I would choose the high noise cancellation when I'm out and about, and the low noise cancellation level is when I'm in the studio or at home. Now the vacuum pressure effect pretty goes unnoticed in low noise mode, but it still blocks quite a bit of ambient sound, which was fine by me. But when you adjust it to the high noise cancellation, then yes, you will have a bit more of that vacuum effect, but it wasn't bad or anything, where it reduces the overall background sound to about 20 to 30% by my estimate. Now, if you're getting this, do not, I repeat, do not put this in no noise cancellation mode or even the wired connection, because you will have a noticeable drop in audio quality. Why? Well, my guess is that the ANC mode somehow gives a more better juice to the drivers, so maybe better sound quality compared to turning it off. So yes, the overall ANC works quite well, but there are some noticeable background voices compared to the flagships, like the likes of Sony and Apple as mentioned earlier. So overall, it is good, but probably a step behind. Then there's also 3 modes for the sound, which are the music mode, a game mode for lower latency, and theatre mode, where the headphones try to simulate a more of a surround sound experience. So the music mode is where I am at about 100% of the time, since I don't really game too much on my phone using wireless headphones. Then the theatre mode is something that gives you that simulated surround sound effect, which I'm not a real big fan of. So that could be useful when you're probably watching Netflix or Disney Plus. Now, speaking of the app and the customization, you can also adjust the multi-function button for a single press and a double press under the control settings, which is indicated as the M button on the headphones as seen earlier. Now, another feature worth mentioning is the safe volume, where if you're cautious about the amount of volume that you pump into your eardrums and you want to keep it safer for your ears, this is definitely a feature that you should turn on, as it will limit the sound to 85 dB at maximum. Now, if you know me very well in this channel, or if you do not know me, I like to listen to everything very loud, so I find this feature not so useful for me. Now, a nifty little feature is that you can just pull your notification drawer, where you typically swipe from the top of your notification, and change the main settings mentioned just now in the Edifier tab, which is surely useful if you're someone who likes to switch between, say, gaming, listening to music, or watching movies, where you can select the different settings on there very quickly. But of course, there are further customization within the app as well, which makes the overall experience with the headphones more catered to how you want them to be listened, and of course overall set it up. So ultimately, how do I feel about how it sounds then? Well, it sucks. If you're an idiot like me, well, let me explain. Everything in the sound department felt so loose and uninspiring that I thought I was listening to a 128 kbps track back in 2007. Thumbs up if you understood that old school reference. Now, speaking of old school, if you'd like to read reviews instead, you can head on to our website at www.adamlobo.tv for a written version of this review. And also, don't forget to join our community Discord if you'd like to connect with the other members of the Lobo Legion. All the links will be in the description below. Okay, so going back to why I called myself an idiot. Okay, so what happened was that the LDAC was not on when I first tried this on, because only then I realized I did not turn on LDAC when I go into my Bluetooth settings, so Burka. And if you already have the app, you can actually tell if it's streaming on LDAC by looking at the top left side, where the Hi-Res Audio Wireless logo is grayed out, which means that you're not in LDAC mode, and it will turn gold once it's on. Okay, so now with LDAC on, how does this actually sound? 2 words: vocals and bass.
Nani? Slap.
Because this seems to be the main focus of this headset, where the focus does give a very dense and warm sound signature that can be very inviting and intimate if you're looking for those kind of sound quality in the headphones. Now, the bass and treble were very prominently highlighted, but to me the highs were just decent to me. So if you're someone who likes a brighter sound signature, then this can feel quite boomy to you with the ever-present bass, which if you're familiar with headphones from Sony is very similar to that, as opposed to maybe a Bose or the AirPods Max as a reference. But yes, the bass is still very well controlled, but it does feel a bit above a step in what I typically prefer in my bass listening, but again, you can always adjust it according to the preset settings. Now, the vocals were exceptionally nice and clear, and the soundstage was also great as well, and is very intimate sounding, where the focus is right in the middle of your ears. And when I was watching movies or series on Netflix and Disney Plus though, oh, this are a beautiful match to that. Because there's just a sense of immersiveness that's just hard to explain. And somehow I feel that I'm more connected watching videos on this. And here's where I would feel that using the theater mode, using the headphones would be the best to use. And with that, I never had that feeling of I really wanted to watch a Disney Plus series like Mandalorian or any other movies or series on Netflix until I got this on. Now for music, I listen to this mainly on the classic mode since the dynamic tends to pull back the mids and vocals just a bit too much for my taste with the noise cancellation on high. Now you can customize the sound more for your liking, but it is quite advanced for an average music listener, so unless you are an audiophile nerd at level 99, only then you'll appreciate using the 4-band equalizer and the Q factor settings. Now speaking of listening to music, if you want to hear the exact songs that are tested on the headphones, I will leave a list down in the description below. Still have issues saying description in front of the camera. Now in terms of the microphone sound quality, it has a total of 4 microphones. And overall, it did sound great during phone calls, and here's a sound test so you can be the judge on how it sounds. So I wanted to test out the microphone for 2 scenarios as usual. One right here in the studio in a more quieter environment, and the second environment would be based on an outdoor style. So this is a microphone test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Quiet. Test 1, 2. And this is an audio test for the second scenario where I'm outdoors. It is pretty windy, and because I have the noise cancellation turned on, so I can barely hear my surroundings. But let's see how exactly it sounds when it comes to the overall audio recording. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Now on the battery side of things, they are very excellent. I actually struggled trying to drain them off completely, where I used the headphones about 8 hours a day and they lasted about 4 days with a tiny bit of battery spare. Now this is with the ANC turned on the entire time, and without it, Edifier claims that you can get up to 55 hours, which I would take their word for it. Then they also quick charge with 7 hours of playtime with only 10 minutes of charge. And I did drain this and got another 23% of battery life back in just 10 minutes. So I do believe their claims. And as for full charge, it will take you an hour and a half. So I've talked about how good these headphones are, but how about the drawbacks then? Well, to be frank, there aren't many. And even there are, in my opinion, it's probably me just nitpicking. Now firstly, while the memory foam is nice and plushy, but it's still thin, and in long term it might thin even more. And hopefully in long term it wouldn't look like my buddy Lee Hood's Sony WH-XM3 headphones, where the wear and tear on that weren't good at all. But then again, we are looking at a huge price difference in both, right? Then probably another nitpicking drawback is that if you're wearing these headphones outdoor under a hot daylight, then you might feel a bit hot towards the top of the headband, so keep that in mind. Then the final drawback is of course that it would be great that if you could use LDAC and dual device connection turned on, because during my use I avoided using the dual device connection as I did not want to sacrifice the audio quality, so I went with that instead of having the dual connection. So to sum this up, these are a very good pair of headphones that come with a very affordable price of 799 ringgit in the official Edifier Shopee store. The ANC works quite well, the battery life is superior, the sound quality is also really great, and it looks classy as heck with this matte black color. So yes, on a budget, I will give this a 2 thumbs up. And speaking of Edifier, see the speakers over there? That review is available over here.